All right. Okay. Okay. I know we've been on fire all week. I'm proud of us too. I'm coming to you fully healed, fully activated. I'm ready to work. And I'm back, baby. I'm doubling back on everything. I'm back for the side order. I'm back to get everything they told me I couldn't get. Welcome to Six Pass TV. Yeah, yeah. Clap it up for yourself for making it here. And oh my God, my mama raised me good. My daddy raised me good. Grandmama raised me good. And Grandpa TK raised me good. What the hell am my manners? It's the Six Pass Commanders. Six Pass Dice here. Mr. Lane, if you need me. I don't know if I already said that, but if I do two intros, ain't no rules to none of this stuff, man. Always question your focus, always question your biases, and keep self-correcting and stay strong. So, what we talking about today? I said I'm doubling back. I'm doubling back on all the social catfish videos. Here at the Six Paths of Health, we break everything down through my six paths of health, which is physical, mental, spiritual, financial, emotional, and social, creative, romantic. And when we master the input and output of all those paths, we get a more of a complete idea of health. And to take it a step further, this channel is about helping y'all grow the hell up. The biggest problem I see in this society is lack of accountability, which is obvious, but also the inability or the lack of desire that people have to grow the fuck up, man. And I know I shouldn't curse. I'm sorry for cursing, but it's not even a desire to grow up. It's not even a desire to mature and do better to the point where we are too comfortable. And when we're actively destroying relationships. And when I make these videos, I want y'all to know that it's either, even though we're having fun, I'm talking shit, but we also trying to, I'm concerned about the happiness and the morale of American people, and particularly the black community, but in general, we're having a problem with male and female relationships. Right? And we're seeing more and more problems that revolve around lack of community and healthy romantic relationships. You know what I mean? Because of the free dating market and many other things, right? So today we're going to revisit a couple on Social Catfish. Now Social Catfish is also a channel that exclusively does stories on people who suspect that they're being that they're a part of what's called a romance scam. A romance scam is when you meet someone online, they'll approach you and everything, and then a lot of times they'll be a really good-looking person or someone that gets really into you, or maybe someone that's a celebrity. It can be any kind of person, right? But what happens is they wind up building trust, a rapport with you, and eventually the squeeze comes, And sometimes there are celebrity romance scams, okay? And this is one of them. And again, that was my nice definition, but the real definition for what this channel was about is really about it's just a great case study to help you see people who do not understand the opposite sex whatsoever. People who are terrible with romance and relationships, all right? And also people who live in fantasy mode. I have a lot of compassion for those who have lost their money and wound up in bad situations, but we got to call it what it is so that we can prevent it from happening to other people, because we got to get out the behavior, not the events. That's what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and make that clear. So today we have a couple where we have a stay-at-home wife, I guess, or a woman, and she basically thinks she's in a relationship with the artist, the country music rapper, Struggle Jennings. Now I like him, but everything. But I'm not gonna lie, when I hear him rap, I just get a little nervous. I feel like he's getting ready to say nigga. So therefore, I'm a little, apprehensive, about any of his music. But he sounds pretty good, pretty talented guy and everything. But the heart of this conversation, before I play this clip, is about how we've created a culture where it's safe and it's okay for women to act ungrateful. Now, in one of my last videos, when I spoke about what women mean when they say patriarchy. Now, again, men are not as social, and men do not relate to the idea of getting what you want through pure manipulation. All right, pure manipulation, meaning that convincing someone with words, making someone feel emotional, making someone make an emotional decision. Okay, and when we hear words like patriarchy, it suggests that men are just inherently evil, and men want to oppress and hold everyone back, in particular women. And men don't want women. Men do not love women or want women to be their best selves. They only want those women to do what they want. And ironically, as we can see in the free dating market, and also what we can see with the reaction to the soft guy era video, which is the soft boy or soft guy era videos, which are just satire on when women we're talking about being in the soft girl era, and just the increasing level of demands coming from women who are all regular people who are also not necessarily asking for things because they're willing to give a whole lot. This has gotten to a point where women have done so well and gotten so much to where there's nothing else to do but be ungrateful. That's always a problem with things being too comfortable and things going too well. When things go too well, you have nothing else to do but to be ungrateful. Okay. So anywho, so that's the main theme, is the lack of gratitude. What you want to see is you're going to hear how this woman talks about. Now, this is her fiance. They're not married. I believe they both have children, and I'm not sure. I don't think they share any actual children. But so I believe 4 of the kids that are there in the house are hers, and the others are his. Now, when she tells her story, and again, this is something that Auntie Crimson Cure always talks about. Beware about how women tell stories. Women will consistently tell stories in a way that makes everyone else seem bad and them seem good. Okay, when she tells this story, you would think that she actually, you kind of can tell that nothing bad has happened to her, but you hear her trying to justify why. Now, mind you, she knows that she's not going to actually run off with another man, but she's trying to justify why she wanted to have the fantasy of living another life. All right, she makes it seem as though her life is unfulfilling, and I get it. It doesn't sound like a very exciting life, but by having a family and raising kids has been in existence for everyone for years to come. It's just that, again, a lot of women have an inferiority complex when it comes to being women, to the point where they don't take pride in the great things they do. Being a mother and a wife, or being a mother or a woman in someone's life, is like the most important job ever. Like, ever. You know what I'm saying? Imagine how you would feel about your mom if your mother didn't spend time with you growing up. If your mother wants you to love her because of her job, you loved your mom because she was your mom and she was nice to you, and that was enough. And that's all she had to do to make you love her. She gave you a warm meal. You know what I mean? She had a warm disposition. It's crazy. It's like it's so much easier for women to make men happy and the world happy. They can just be themselves and just be nice. Like I keep saying, there's nothing I can do that's as easy as frying chicken or making there's nothing I could do that's as easy as making a cheeseburger that will make her as happy as her making me a cheeseburger. There's nothing I can do that's that. Not necessarily. I mean, I could, but I'm just saying. Anywho, all right, we at almost 9 minutes, man. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. It's a social catfish, man, and yeah, man. Let's get it popping. We're gonna have some timely blogs here, okay? Fair use. Don't hate on your boy.
That Robert, you had proposed to Sarah using a cameo from Struggle Jennings.
Robert wanted to know if you would spend the rest of your life with him.
He was on tour. He said he wanted me to become a part of his band.
I had taken her phone with me. There was a lot of I love yous and all that.
So we want to actually bring in Struggle Jennings. We're going to bring him in right now.
Oh, okay.
On this week's episode, we help a couple whose relationship has lost its spark. A man named Robert reached out to us after finding out his fiance was messaging another man through TikTok. The problem is she thinks she's in a relationship with the couple's favorite musician, Struggle Jennings. Robert has convinced Sarah to block this celebrity profile several times, but she seems to always go back.
Real quick, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your comment and like could help stop
Show 'em
someone
some
from being
love.
scammed. Let's get into it.
Hi, my name is Sarah. My mother is 6. Really don't do much except for just sit here, take care of the house, take care of kids.
First time we met.
You hear that? Do you hear, I'm just saying, just so we're on the same page. You hear her setting the tone? Like, you hear her like pretty much shitting on her family life. This kind of talk is acceptable. Listen, I love my grandmother to death, but I grew up hearing my grandmother talk like this. And I mean, I never really liked it, but I didn't understand that it wasn't good behavior. I didn't really get that. I didn't understand that there's no resolution in that thinking. Not that I ever wanted to think like that, but since I was little, I always would hear my grandmother kind of talk about things from a complaining aspect. And it's like, again, I mean, maybe it's American culture. I once heard a story with Franklin Ajax, he was a comedian that was pretty popular in the 80s and whatnot. And it was in the 70s and 80s. And he was he was saying just how things can just be different in different countries and stuff like that, right? And he was saying how when he moved to Australia, he noticed that people seem to be happier. And a part of it was that people won't listen to you complain. People will shun you if you're a complainer. You know what I'm saying? And what would happen is, in America or in British comedy, I'm saying it's funny to be a complainer and complain about what's going on, or the bartender kind of plays therapist, and in these storylines and whatnot. Whereas in Australian culture, he said, if you come around complaining and whatnot, they'll listen for a little bit, and then the bartender be like, all right, well, she'll be right, you know what I mean, and that's the end of it, you know what I mean. And but anywho, I just want to kind of make sure that we're aware of, just the foolishness that's going on before we can barely even get into the video. So I promise to do better with this than I've done with the other videos where we can't even get. I had to do like 3 parts.
Actually, was back in grade school. We were friends back then. 8 years ago, we both found ourselves single and went on a couple of dates and kind of never separated after that.
Me and Robert don't have any biological children together. Got boys, considered his kids my kids, and I love them like they're my own.
Love her personality. Love her smile. She has the most gorgeous smile of anybody I've ever seen. Can light up a room. I love her. When I proposed to Sarah, I had a cameo video made by Struggle, part of the proposal process.
Because he knew he was my favorite artist, and one of his songs is our song.
Robert proposed to Sarah 2 years ago. He wanted to do something special for her by reaching out to her favorite musician.
Sarah, the GOAT, Sarah. Got a really important question that I want to ask you. Robert wanted to know if you would spend the rest of your life with him by his side, and if you would accept his hand in marriage. Y'all let me know what you say.
Been engaged for almost 2 years. We've been together for 8 years, but this past year has been really upsetting. Turning point for me was when he started ignoring my needs.
I've neglected the relationship terribly with my work schedule and just life in general.
When I see he puts as much effort as he did into his work when he didn't have to, and he could have put that much effort into our relationship.
There hasn't been much of a relationship for probably a good year or so.
I feel that he doesn't know how to balance that work man and family man at an equal balance. Robert's boss, she is female. She's very tall, blonde, skinny, and I don't like her much. We had a tornado that went by, and I was very angry with him. We were all huddled up in the laundry room, and his boss calls him, and I get that he has to answer it, but 10 more minutes till the tornado passed wouldn't have hurt.
In her mind, I think that she thought I was completely checked out of a relationship.
He would put on cologne only when the boss is coming and to make an excuse for it. With no wedding planning or any of that, I started to notice the change in how he proceeded with the relationship.
After being engaged to Robert for 2 years,
All right, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and just recap this whole story right here. So, now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people can't have opinions about how the relationship is going. What I'm not hearing is that they had conversations where she voiced these things and said or made suggestions. What you want to hear and what you want to when what you hear in most relationships that modern men have with modern women is that for the most part, when we start having these conversations and you start asking questions, you're going to realize that the woman wants to have a relationship where she does no work. It doesn't make any effort. You realize the whole time she doesn't say that things were getting a little rocky. We didn't seem as close. So I tried this and I tried this. You realize that she's just been complaining the whole time and that he's been apologizing the whole time when he wasn't the one who actually tried to leave the marriage and actually tried to end the marriage. You know what I mean? Because for the most part, let's keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? If Struggle Jennings, I can't say necessarily that, well, that wouldn't happen, but let's just say in a scenario where this would have been real in her mind, she's like, all right, well, I'm ready to just leave my family behind and I'm going to go join a band. This woman did not mention anything about having any musical talent. The only thing she knew was, I'm going out somewhere to go have fun. And I get it. Women want to have fun. But ma'am, you have no musical talent. What do you mean he wants you to be? Why would he want you to? He's never seen you do anything. You realize how stupid you sound? That's the same as Elon saying that, yeah, man, I've been talking to Elon Musk on Twitter, and he's been telling me that he wants to send me to space. And he wants me to be the first astronaut, you know what I'm saying, from where I'm from in New Jersey. Like, no, I'm saying he wants to send the first battle rapper into space. No, man. No. This is crazy. But another point I want to make about the husband's reaction and how he's talking, this represents how much men love women. He loves this woman to the point where he's not even acknowledging she's trying to betray you. She's trying to violate you, actually. Okay? Like, yeah, she's trying to violate you. When you guys hear her talk more and whatnot, you'll see what I'm talking about. And another thing they do on this channel is when the women are trying to openly cheat on a husband and break up their family, it always comes back to being a man's fault somehow, and the host will kind of get on the men when y'all only there having this story because the woman's being scammed and the woman's probably giving away her family's resources to a guy in Lagos, Nigeria. You know what I mean? So, anywho.
Sarah felt like he was putting off their marriage. The two grew apart more every day. In the midst of all of this, she met someone online claiming to be the couple's favorite rapper, Struggle Jennings.
It all started with TikTok. At the time, I was born to. He was Struggle Jennings. He's a country rap artist. TS, if I was.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Let me touch on this real quick. I'm sorry. Manipulation tactics. Now, you see in that first picture how she was. Matter of fact, let's go ahead. Let's bring it back. I'm sorry. I wanted to just touch on the part where he talks about his boss real quick.
Together for 8 years. Been engaged.
You.
Point for me was effort as he did into his work when he didn't have to, and he could have put that much effort into our relationship.
Hasn't been much of a relationship.
Balance that work man and family man at an equal balance. Robert's boss, she is female. She's very tall, blonde, skinny, and I don't like her much. We had a tornado that went.
Now you gotta realize now for you non-white people out there, being skinny and blonde is a big deal for white folks. It's like having a big booty for black folks. You know what I'm saying? And having like good hair and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Having good hair and big booty. But that's what it's like. All right. A lot of what this whole thing is about is for the most part, got to realize whenever people are gaining weight and everything, it's not random. It's not just because they just live in life. That especially for women know that their value is in how they look. You know, the thing we've all heard that before, right? So, which is why women put so much effort into their appearance. So, when women will allow themselves to get big and gain a bunch of weight and stuff like that, that's not a good sign. It's a sign of depression. Even when she talks about their relationship, there is no not even a twinge, or is that the right word? A twinge. There is no love in her voice when she talks about the time she spent with this man. She is so ready to leave this man on a whim. She's ready to leave. She's ready to leave him, even and she's and the only reason that she's not leaving him, and the only reason a lot of y'all women don't leave y'all is because they don't have a better option. If a better option came along, your woman might leave you, bro. These shows also prove this, but what she's also doing, and I'm gonna touch on the whole manipulation piece, is she's projecting onto him and making him feel as though he's the person who hasn't been a good I don't want to say partner, but a good husband, or he hasn't been good in a relationship, right? When the reality is this: when a woman's overweight and she's not concerned about it, she's not saying, "Oh man, I gotta kind of pull back, I gotta eat a little less and whatnot," and she's not actively working on it for the most part. First of all, she hates herself because she knows she's not as attractive as she was before. That's why she keeps talking about this woman, because if his boss was bigger than her and whatnot, she probably wouldn't be that worried about it and wouldn't be talking about it. But rather than take action, right, what she would rather do is push it off on him and say, "Hey, you're not meeting my needs. You're the reason why I'm acting how I'm acting." Okay, and another thing too is that should be a sin. Not a sin. I'm sorry, that's some little crazy. A crime, just about. Because if a man gets in a relationship, he doesn't go and lose his job on purpose. He doesn't go and lose his car on purpose. Because this is the setting that she found you at. If anything, she expects you to do. Actually, women actually expect you to do better in life as life goes on. Whereas in a relationship, men for the most part have to deal with you getting older, not being as attractive, gaining as much weight as you like, and just not and being in no hurry to lose the shit. You know what I mean? But anywho, I wanted to point that out. You know that and this is also a manipulation tactic that narcissists use, because a narc can never be wrong, and a narc doesn't see themselves as someone that has to be that can be held accountable or needs to be held accountable. For the most part, everything they do, right or wrong, has a good reason. All right, and this is the same line of thinking that you're seeing right here. Like, she talks about it as if it made all the sense in the world. You know what I mean? And she, but the thing was, she couldn't talk about any kind of abuse or anything that he actually did. She talks about all these very vague things, such as, he puts on cologne only when she's coming around, and he's putting so much effort into his work. Y'all got 6 kids. What else is there to do but work? What are you talking about? He has the financial burden of 8 people on him, and the only thing she can do is try to figure out how she can bang fake Struggle Jennings. It only gets dirty. Shout out to P Bills. I'll be right. I am back. You have been waiting for me. Sorry, I had to do some dad stuff, man. I'm back. Anyway, so we're back to chopping this table, man. Let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go. So we're picking up from basically. So I wanted to show you that quick clip because I wanted to show you guys or maybe more so the men, about again the basic social manipulation in terms of when someone has a problem, especially in a relationship or something where it's only you and one other person, and how that person may try to make you think that you're the problem. And a lot of times this is just to distract you from having an opinion about what they're doing. Okay, but I will say this about old boy, and don't get me wrong, they both don't look good. Okay. Of course, the man doesn't have to be the most handsome in the world, but I do think everyone should try to look their best. Okay. Um, hold on, man. Let's see. You know what? I don't even have to go to that point. The point I want to make is for men, you ain't gotta be ripped, you ain't gotta be super jacked or nothing like that. But men have to look like at any time they can get physical and get active. So I will say that, and I will say in terms of maintaining attraction, it's never good for the relationship for you to not be keeping up with your grooming or not maintaining a decent look. That man's hair looks crazy. Like being close up on him every day and whatnot has to be very uncomfortable. All right. That man went bald a long time ago. He has no hair right here. So he has brushed the hair that's sitting back here and made it lay on his forehead. Sir, you don't have hair no more. Just cut it off. Or just wear a very low cut. He's not a bad looking guy. Listen, most people's problems can be solved with a good haircut and losing 20 to 60 pounds. Most people only need to lose about 20 to 40 pounds and their whole life going to be different. As long as they're not big as hell. But while I will say that about him. But also, again, like we said before, when it comes to this story, like you only hear it mostly from her side. And as far as when he's talking, he's very apologetic. And you know what? Maybe he was banging his boss. I don't know. But this is the Western male. So this is very characteristic of the Western male. This is what we do. Okay. Again, men love their women to the point where they cannot imagine that their wife or their woman is taking them for a ride. Okay. But anywho, let's go ahead and get back into it, man.
Felt like he was putting off their marriage. The two grew apart more every day. In the midst of all of this, she met someone online claiming to be the couple's favorite rapper, Struggle Jennings.
It all started with TikTok. At the time I was born to, he was Struggle Jennings. He's a country rap artist. She asked if I was a fan, and I said yes. And he asked how long. And I've been a fan of his for about 9 years. First, I didn't believe it was real him. Then it went to casually talking every day, every morning, every night. I guess my favorite quality of Struggles would be his looks, because I am attracted to him. I think I'm more addicted to his voice. He's a wonderful songwriter. Would be the type of person that wouldn't take no crap from somebody or anybody, or the man that would take in charge and take control. The first video he's ever sent me, he was like walking inside a grocery store. He sent me, I guess it would be from his kitchen, wearing Tommy Hilfiger stuff. And the other one he sent me was standing in front of a moving truck, smoking a cigarette. Had opened up to him because the emptiness that I felt in my relationship, Robert, and thinking that our relationship was already over.
I had taken her phone with me on a trip to pick up her oldest son. Read all the messages there, all of them, but enough of them to see what was happening.
All these things he would say to me. Oh, I'm going to take you for a concert. You're going to be at my show. I've got a surprise for you.
I know there was a lot of I love yous and all that. I read the messages that I read.
Claiming to love me, and he would tear his life upside down for me. At that time, I felt almost like on cloud nine because those were the things that I was missing, things that I needed in a relationship.
Things spiraled further out of control when he started to promise Sarah that he would make her famous.
At this point in time, he was on tour. He said he wanted me to become a part of his band.
He's telling her, she's gonna be in his band. She's gonna be making music.
The idea of being part of the band, it struck me as just, I see a point where maybe I can change my whole life around. What if I was meant to do this? Then he started talking about VIP.
To come with a beat.
Sorry, I wrong button.
He would be personally picking her
Let me,
up, take her to a concert.
Then he started talking about VIP.
Sorry about that.
The idea of being part of the band, it
I can teach you how to
struck me
sing.
as just, I see a point where maybe I can change my whole life around. What if I was meant to do this?
Let's just stop right there. So I've touched on the mindset of the person who's on the other side of the screen, who's talking to our so-called victims before. That person understands the delusions of the modern women. These guys do this for a living. It's not by mistake that they know exactly what to say to these women. And one of the reasons why these women can get caught up in these scams is because these scammers understand that women in particular, they live in they have a masturbation mindset, or they want to have like a masturbation experience where you're having a fantasy and you're in control of every part of the fantasy. Like I said before, that's why when you talk to a woman and you start telling her the truth and you start to have a real conversation, she looks how she looks because she don't like how that feels, right? And in your fantasies, you control every aspect of how you act and how the people around you act. All right. And it makes sense to you to have control over how everyone acts, the same way how modern women, for the most part, whether you realize it or not, they feel as though they should have control over every aspect of who you are. From how you dress, how you talk, what you say, what you do, what kind of job you can have, what shoes you can wear, what time you can use the bathroom, what you can eat, all these different things. There's a whole list that women put out recently of places that you cannot take them on a first date that you are paying for. That's crazy. Anywho, but the scammer understands that, again, women have sex in different ways. It's not just penetration. That's the way, that fantasizing, that fantasy, that is a way of her having sex. Because she gets to live out this alternate life. Like, she literally is living out an alternate storyline in her head where she's not a mom with 4 kids of her own and 2 stepkids, and she doesn't have a regular life, and basically she resents who she is. Every part of it, actually. It never. I'm like, okay, so man, if this would have been true, and let's say a struggle Jennings is actually looking for a woman that's in her 40s and overweight to come randomly join his band with no musical talent or experience. Let's say that somebody somewhere would actually want that. So you're just saying that you're gonna leave all 6 of these kids and oh boy with the comb over. It's not even a comb over, that's a comb down, nigga. That's he looked like he just came out the rain, you know what I mean? Or he just, I don't know. Anywho. So like, you want to just leave the whole family? That's just gonna be it. You gonna just say, peace, F them kids, sayonara, hasta la vista. It was that what was gonna happen? And the host of the show don't ask her about none of this shit. None of it. They just keep getting on old boy. Okay. Anywho, and another thing too, she said, "What if I was meant to do this?" I'm like, whenever you hear people say things that you hear in movies, that person is really disconnected from the real world. They probably don't have enough friends. They probably don't have enough healthy interactions. Because again, because in their mind, they watch so much goddamn TV that they don't realize that that's not how life goes. People don't even talk like this. Anywho, let's go ahead and keep going, guys. Fair use. Fair use.
Then he started talking about VIP pass and getting a fun
Now we're
spread.
getting started.
Supposed to come with a meet and greet. He would be personally picking her up, take her to a concert.
I wasn't able to pay it all at once. I had borrowed money from a friend.
She was starting to try to pawn things.
I had found this ring a few years back. I was going to try to pawn.
Just so we clear. Oh, pardon me. What's that, guys? Pardon me. We talked before about how women tell stories. A woman will never tell a story that either makes her look bad or give you a feel for how wrong she actually was. She said, I was going to pawn a ring I got a few years ago. She got engaged a few years ago. She was going to pawn her engagement ring, a real engagement ring, to meet a fake person. Let that sink in for a second. Matter of fact, you see me. These people are willing to give up real money and resources that involve real people for someone they do not, for someone who doesn't exist, and someone whom they have not confirmed whether or not they exist. Let that sink in. So now we're at the portion where the scammer is starting to squeeze. Scammer got you comfortable. You're all the way in the fantasy, and the scammer has you to the point where you are now getting ready to ruin your whole life. Ruin your life. What if her husband? Let's just call her husband. What if her husband wasn't so forgiving? Because he caught her red-handed. Now, in fact, the irony is that he caught her while raising her son. So I had her phone. I'm going to go pick up her son. And he goes in his phone to see that you are carrying on a whole romance. All right, y'all. Where we at in the video? We at 750. All right, man. I'm about to give out a few more.
I've even tried to on my TV.
Part one.
I was just trying to find ways to come up with money. He is one of my favorite singers.
And when she says pawn my TV, she's talking about pawning the family TV. She does not have her own TV. It's the TV from the living room, the TV from the bedroom. Okay, like it's not, like she got her own room at the house. She shared a room with her husband. She was going to pawn her engagement ring and pawn the TV that they watch every night. The TV that they watch, Dukes of Hazzard on. The TV that they watch, the TV that they watch Friends on. She was going to pawn that. All right.
When Robert found out that Sarah was trying to pawn items, he offered to pay for the meet and greet.
I went ahead and caved, thinking that just sending the money, her seeing that she doesn't get what's promised on the other end of that is going to be enough to show her that it's a scammer.
Yo, this real quick. This is my series called The Love of a Man. Could you imagine a man being married to his wife and he thinks that he's talking to Ashanti? Let's just say this guy's older. He's in his 40s and whatnot. He thinks he's talking to Ashanti. He thinks that, that Ashanti has reached out to him and Ashanti wants him to be on her next album, and he don't even rap. He just saying, "Yo, man, Rex," because in my story, my name is Rex. Rex, you're just so great that I just want you to be on the album. Now you just heard her say that she talked about the possibility of being in the band, like that makes sense. So you think that you're going to be approached by, I'm going to say famous. I'm not sure. Well, a known artist, and then the artist is going to say, you know what, I want you to be a part of the band, and you know what, we're going to just let you learn. I'll teach you how to sing. It don't matter. She's a very big age. Now she was like 4 years old. That's something different. You know what I'm saying? Now if he was adopting her and she's 4 years old, that's something totally different. All right, cool. You know what I mean? But no, just aesthetically, no. What women who did not have social media would never think that me now that I'm in my 40s and I have 4 kids. You know what I'm saying, and I'm well overweight. This would be a great time for Axl Rose to have me join the band. To have David Bowie ask me if I want to join his band. Yeah, what? Goodness gracious. Nasty work. Nasty work. Anyway, that's said before in my previous scenario. Your wife would never pay for you to go meet fake Ashanti. All right? She would just left you. He over here trying to make it work. Man, listen. Listen. Your wife would have this all in court when she divorced you. That you were trying to meet fake Ashanti. Anywho.
It was a piece of paper and it just said my information, my name, and my address, how long you want the meet and greet to go on, where you want it to be at, what's your favorite food.
You realize that whole questionnaire reads like the almost like an equation for a fantasy. It's like, all right, boom. All right, so what do you want to happen in your fantasy? When does the customer dictate how long a meet and greet goes on for? What do you know what a meet and greet is? You know what? I don't think she knows what meet and greets are. A meet and greet is when the celebrity is somewhere in public and you get to come and say hello and take a picture with them and maybe give them a hug if they're into that. Unless you're going to go see Summer Walker. Maybe I wasn't outside for that joke. Dun, dun, dun. Anywho, so, all right. Yeah, like I said before, she thinks a meet and greet is a fantasy. It's basically when an artist comes to live with you and become like your soulmate and whatnot. Like I heard at one point them mention that she thought he was going to come to her house and come pick her up. I want to react to these things.
Where's your nearest airport?
She's giving passwords, access to her cash app,
my social security card, and he has access to all my passwords and emails. And when I asked, he said, I'm only doing it to help you.
All right, no, hold on.
You'll see, I'm doing it to help you. I could never hurt you. He was trying to say he built me a house in Tennessee. He had sent me pictures of his house. It said he was having a house.
Those is recent TISA numbers, 750K. The recent TISA special. It's probably the same house that recent TISA thought that she was looking at. That she said that Lee John has sent her. Probably the same John. Not only that, he said he gonna build her a house. That's another thing too. When in the history of man have fat women ever had houses built for them? Do you hear this kind of stuff? You don't get a house built. Why do you think that you would deserve for a man to build? You gotta think about it, and again, and you know why? Because again, women. Well, for one, the I'm sorry. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go to this point. And this is what's going to bring it all together. Shout out to Crimson Cure. This is not my concept. This is Crimson Cure's concept. Listen to her tell that story. There are so many parallels between how she was talking and how a child talks. She said she gave him access to her Cash App and gave him her social security number. And he's talking about, yeah, she gave him passwords. So she basically put the family finances at risk because she was trying to cheat on her husband. It wasn't like she's just a victim. She's a victim because she was trying to cheat on her man. And she didn't just cheat on him. She gave this person the most valuable information. Like, gave this person her social, gave them everything. And then believe that this person was going to build them a house and all this type of stuff. And it's like, that's some stuff that a child will believe. This is somebody's mother.
House built for us, and then I was going to own it. It was going to be in my name. He said, you trust me, and this is for you. I'm not going to screw you over or anything like that.
Sarah was promised a life-changing tour, management support, singing lessons, a home, and a real connection with Struggle Jennings. But this person has delivered none of it. Despite blocking the profile and promising to move on, Sarah keeps getting drawn back into communication.
Said that she was no longer going to talk to him, and then right back again the next day. You know, he keeps changing it to it'll be the next week from what she said. Just seeing it for what it is. I mean, like every time he contacts her and they go, it just pulls it right back.
I still feel awful because I'm talking to the other person when Robert is right here in the flesh, in the real.
Always been able to completely trust her in the past as far as our relationship goes, but
he is.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I mean, again, I'm not saying that it's right for her to do what she's doing and whatnot, but God, dog, y'all both got to work on your image, man. Goodness gracious, like, you imagine seeing this guy up close with that hair. Matter of fact, you imagine how you smell. Oh, sorry about that, guys. We're at 10.
But
he has really shown me not only forgiveness but love.
I'm sorry that I put you in the position to be vulnerable enough to be taken advantage of this way.
I guess in my head, I would want it to be real because this guy promised me a better life for myself, a dream. Oh, you can be your own boss. You can have all the things.
Like an MLM? God, dog. All right. We got to stop right now. This has to stop. I have to go have dinner. Oh, my God. All right, let me go ahead and make myself big again. Listen, I heard brother attorney Dennis Sperling make a good point about men have to understand that it's not always good to be so understanding. Because when you're too understanding, the other person doesn't do any self-correction and they won't do any work. Now, I understand maybe not wanting to end the relationship, but you can tell that he hasn't made her. He hasn't punish. When I say punish, I'm not gonna say you need to punish a woman, but like he hasn't really given her any consequences for her actions. And in one breath, she says, "Yeah, I'm so he showed me forgiveness and all type of stuff, but I still kind of wanted to be real because he promised me so many things." And that brings me to my next point. Shout out to Angry Man for this point about the entitlement of the modern woman has gotten to be so bad. Men have been so kind to women that they have become like rich children who are super rich, like as in they have maids and servants. if you grow up with maids and servants, the only thing you can think of is like, yo, people are supposed to serve me, or it's supposed to be someone else's job to maintain me. This is all I know. But anywho, she's basically saying that, oh, modern women believe this is legit to have a beef with a man if he makes you a promise and doesn't keep it, no matter how crazy that promise is, or unbelievable, or how much you don't even deserve what he's promising. That's another thing too. Modern women cannot conceive the idea of not deserving something. She thought a semi-famous rapper should reach out to her and pursue her, and then want to invest in her having a music career, with her being 60 pounds overweight and in her 40s with 4 kids, and plus 2, and have a man. All this stuff, and build you a home. And I don't hear her talking about even taking her kids with her. She's making it sound like she's going to just leave the kids. She's going to say, yo, fuck them kids. Anywho, that shit is crazy. That's part 1, man. We're going to finish in part 2. The ungrateful modern women. Do all modern women have this disease? And yeah, like, share, subscribe, guys. Have a good night. Peace.